Oke, Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Innal hamdalillah nahmaduhu wa nasta'inuhu wa nastaghfiruh wa na'udzu billahi min shururi anfusina wa min sayyiati a'malina. Man yahdihillahu fala mudilla lahu wa man yudlilhu fala hadiya lahu. Asyhadu an la ilaha illallah wa asyhadu anna Muhammadan abduhu wa rasuluh. Amma ba'du. Firstly, let's thank Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala who has been giving us some mercies and blessings until we can attend in this place without any troubles or obstacles. Secondly, let's salawat and salam always be given to our Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam who has guided us from the darkness to the lightness, from Jahiliyyah era to the Islamic era, namely Islam religion, the true religion in this world and hereafter. On this occasion, I would like to deliver a short speech about the hijrah of the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. But before going to the topic, I would like to introduce myself first. Okay, my name is Azhar. I come from the 8th grade. Okay, let's start with the speech. The story of the migration of the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam is full of challenge. The hijrah was carried out because the da'wah carried out by the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam to the Quraysh continued to get opposition and attacks until the plot of murder. They increasingly heeded the Prophet's invitation to believe in Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. After that, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala told him to emigrate, so the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam also carried out the hijrah to Medina. Initially, in 620 AD, the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, 6 people from Yathrib or Medina, from the Azhar tribe who made a pilgrimage to Mecca. During the meeting, Prophet Muhammad ﷺ invited them to convert to Islam. They welcomed the invitation and declared conversion to Islam. They also taught about Islam to other Yathrib people. In the year 620 AD, 21 AD, a Muslim Yathrib along with 6 other friends as envoys of the Khazraj and Aus tribes came to the Prophet Muhammad. The 6 people converted to Islam and made an agreement at a place called Aqabah. The contents of the agreement: we will not associate partners with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala with anything else. We will not steal, commit adultery, and kill children. We will not slander each other, and we will not disobey the Prophet Muhammad. Furthermore, in 622 AD, the Yathrib people came again with the intention of entering into the Aqabah second agreement, as well as inviting the Prophet Muhammad to emigrate to Yathrib. The Aqabah second agreement was attended by 75 Yathrib and the Prophet Muhammad, who was accompanied by his uncle Azhar. The contents of the agreement are the same as before, and the number of participants who embrace Islam is increasing. In the 2 agreements that occurred, Prophet Muhammad ﷺ got the impression that Islam was ready to develop rapidly in Yathrib. This fact made the Prophet Muhammad ﷺ order his companions to secretly migrate from Mecca to Medina, while the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam and some of his companions still lived in Mecca with Abu Bakr and Ali bin Abi Talib. The Prophet PBUH waited for the revelation of the verse from Allah to lift the hijrah. The plan of the Prophet Muhammad's migration was heard by the Quraysh infidels. The Quraysh finally planned to kill the Prophet Muhammad. Kafir Quraysh worried that Islam would develop in Yathrib. They ordered the youth to surround the house of the Prophet Muhammad for fear of running away. That same night, the Prophet ﷺ asked his cousin Ali bin Abi Talib to put on the Prophet's blanket and lie down on his bed. With Allah's permission, Prophet Muhammad ﷺ managed to get out of his house safely, even though it was surrounded. The Quraysh disbelievers did not see the Prophet PBUH coming out of the front door they had guarded. Not long after the Prophet Muhammad or PBUH left his house, The youths woke up and entered the Prophet's house full of lust to kill. However, they only found Ali bin Abi Talib who was sleeping. They were disappointed and could not believe everything that had happened. This happened only because of the help of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Towards the end of the night, the Prophet Muhammad ﷺ went to Abu Bakr's house and invited him to emigrate. The Prophet ﷺ and Abu Bakr then came out of the back door window and continued to head south towards Azhar. The path taken by them is a path that is impossible for humans to pass. This was done so that the young men of Quraysh who did not think they were going that way. On their way, they bought a time to hike in Azhar for 3 days and 3 nights. Exactly on 26 Safar 922 AD or exactly June 17, Prophet Muhammad SAW, accompanied by Sayyidina Abu Bakr Ash-Shidi, went to Turkey. The Prophet ﷺ told Abu Bakr that he had to go on a hijrah that night and appointed Abu Bakr to accompany him. The incident was recorded in the book of Fathul Bari. The event of the migration of the Prophet Muhammad ﷺ was later designated as the beginning of the Hijri calendar. According to the narrations of the scholars of famous dating expert, the first Islamic date was set by Umar bin Khattab radhiyallahu anhu when he became caliph in 17 Hijriah. Abu Bakr said, "O Messenger of Allah, indeed I have 2 camels which I have prepared for the emigration." Then Abu Bakr gave one of his riding animals, namely Al-Jada, to the 2 of them set off until they arrived at Azhar and they both hid in it. Meanwhile, Amir bin Fuhairah, Abdullah bin Tufail bin Sahbarah's slave, every morning and at night brought meal for the Prophet Muhammad ﷺ and Abu Bakr. Then he went at night to meet the 2. After that, Amir bin Fuhairah went to graze so that none of the shepherds knew. When Amir bin Fuhairah left, Abu Bakr and the Prophet came out following behind until they both arrived in Medina. The hideout of the Prophet ﷺ and Abu Bakr in the cave of Thur was almost known to his enemies, who continued to pursue the Prophet Muhammad. However, with the help of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, the Messenger of Allah and Abu Bakr survived. Abu Bakr was afraid that if someone from the police who chased him could see him, the Messenger of Allah or sallallahu alaihi wasallam would be hurt by them. So the Prophet feed and strengthened Abu Bakr's heart. So they said, if he had entered this cave, the cobwebs would no longer be in his mouth. The Prophet stayed in the cave of Thur for 3 nights. When conditions were safe, the Prophet ﷺ and Abu Bakr then left and continued to journey with the supplies given by their daughter. In order to be safe on the journey, Prophet Muhammad ﷺ and Abu Bakr took a path that no human had ever traveled. Abdullah bin Urayqit from Banu Du'ay was asked to guide the way. The 2 of them carried the Prophet Muhammad and Abu Bakr with great care to the south and then towards Tihama, near the coast of the Red Sea. Prophet Muhammad ﷺ and Abu Bakr and their guide all night and they were on the vision. They no longer care about hardship and fatigue. They only believe that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will help them. The Quraysh held a contest Whoever could bring the Prophet Muhammad, alive or dead, great prizes and high positions awaited him. This attracted the hearts of um, the people at the time, including Suraqah bin Malik, who already know the journey of the Prophet Muhammad and Abu Bakr. Not long after, Suraqah bin Malik came to the place in question, and he found the Prophet Muhammad and his two friends who were resting on a large rock while eating the lunch given by Asma, the daughter of Abu Bakr. Every time Suraqah bin Malik approached the Prophet Muhammad's entourage, his heart always filled. It was repeated up to 4 times. Suraqah, who believed in God, thought that it was a bad omen. So he gave up his intention and returned to Mecca. For 7 days continuously they walked. The Prophet ﷺ and Abu Bakr just rested under the scorching heat of the dry season and walked again all night across the sea of deserts. Just because there is peace of mind to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala makes their hearts and feelings feel safer. They always believe that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will always be with them. On the way to Medina, the Messenger of Allah stopped at Quba, a village 2 miles south of Medina. There he built a mosque. This mosque became the first mosque in Islamic history. He stayed there for 4 days and then continued his journey to Medina. On Friday morning, he departed from Quba and arrived at the village of Bani Salim bin Auf just in time for Friday prayers. Pray the Prophet Muhammad ﷺ there. This is the first Friday prayer in Islam. His sermon was also the first sermon. Prophet Muhammad ﷺ and Abu Bakr arrived in Medina on the steps of Rabiul Awal. His arrival has been eagerly awaited by the people of Medina. On the day of the arrival of the Prophet Muhammad ﷺ and Abu Bakr, the people of Medina were already waiting on the road that the Prophet Muhammad was about to pass, and the drums rumbled, interspersed with songs that were deliberately composed for the purpose of welcoming it. The full moon has appeared in our minds from the surface of the hills. We must be grateful for his invitation to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. O people who were resurrected for us, you have come with something that must be obeyed. This is the greeting of the Prophet Muhammad in Medina. After arriving in Medina, the Prophet Muhammad ﷺ began to make a work program and implement it, namely building mosques, brotherhood between Muhajirin and Ansar, and making agreements with the people of Medina. The first step is to build a mosque. The construction of the mosque began immediately, and all Muslims took part so that a mosque with brick walls, with that palm trunks, and a rough roof with that palm leaf stood. The mosque, which was built by the Prophet Muhammad together with the Muhajirin and Ansar, did not only function for prayer, but for all activities of the Prophet in Medina. Among the functions of the mosque at the time of the Prophet was as a place to unite people, discuss of development of Islam, study religious knowledge, even as the center of government. After the Prophet was chosen as leader in Medina, all the activities of the people of Medina are centered in the mosque. That is the function of the mosque, which was actually built by the Prophet Muhammad. Wallahu a'lam. Okay, maybe that's all from me. Sorry, I apologize for all the mistakes that I have made in this video. Thank you for watching, and the last I say, wassalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.